Hey, I'm Stone Cold Steve Austin, and welcome to the Broken Skull Sessions. Today, my guest on the show is one of the biggest, baddest, most intimidating men I've ever stepped in a ring with. He's also one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. Today, my guest is Glenn Jacobs, Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, also known as Kane. Glenn Jacobs, how are you?
Hey, Steve. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming all the way out here.
Sure, absolutely.
You have been busy.
I have been pretty busy, actually.
You are the mayor of Knox County.
Yep.
Congrats.
Yep. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
What possessed you to run for mayor?
Just trying to make a positive impact on my community. I've always been a little bit interested in government politics, and it's something that I wanted to do. Literally, it's one of those things. I woke up one day, and I got to thinking to myself, that'd be pretty cool if I did that. So.
You know, I was reading your book. I want to pick this book up right here. Check it out. Mayor Kane. I don't read a whole lot of books, but I really enjoyed this
Thanks.
read. And what I enjoyed about it was, first of all, your story inside the squared circle and your travels, but also just the life lessons about you living the American dream and about being in America, the greatest country in the world. You sum up the American dream because you do on the last page and a half of this book.
It's simply the ability, the freedom to create the life you want to create. You know, like you, I played college football. I had a knee injury that in my football career was struggling figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I'd always been a fan of wrestling, you know, and figured I had a skill set that I could be successful at it. Got into it and found, wow, this is a gift that I have. And I was able to utilize that and live a life that I'd never thought I'd be able to do.
Hey, man, and the thing about this book is, and it's my last up, it's not a plug, I mean, it's a real deal. What I liked about the book was a great story of everything you accomplished in the business and all the hardships that you overcame and taking advantage of opportunities that came upon you, but also the life lessons in there. So if you ain't a wrestling fan, I still recommend this book. And it's not a motivational book, but it's just the way you look at life. I don't know if it's a deal because maybe your upbringing with your parents. I mean, your dad was in the Navy and in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Not too many guys, you know, have a career in two of the armed forces. So, I mean, would you say that would be a starting point of how you were raised?
I think that's part of it. My parents always taught us that we could pretty much do whatever we wanted to do. You know, it's just a matter of not quitting when things got tough, you know, and just like everyone else, when I was a kid, we went through some pretty tough times. You know, I grew up in the 1970s and the economy wasn't roaring like it is today or any of those things, you know, but we just kept going. And my parents were, you know, they were very good about encouraging, and anytime you had a setback, there's always tomorrow, right?
Hey, man, let's jump into pro wrestling because you grew up outside the St. Louis area. So you grew up watching some good stuff. And it was not like you had your eyesight set on, hey, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. But you saw some good wrestling action back in the day.
Sure did, man. I grew up outside of a town of about 300 people in northeast Missouri. If the wind was blowing right, we didn't have cable. So if the wind was blowing right on a Saturday night, I got to watch All-Star Wrestling out of Kansas City. So you had people like Bulldog Bob Brown, Ray Candy, Bruiser Bob Sweetan. Every once in a while, Harley Race would come through.
Yeah.
Once a month, though, we'd go down and visit my grandmother on a weekend down in St. Louis. Had wrestling at the Chase I got to watch. That was the best show in the country at the time. Flair would come later, but you had Fritz von Erich and Harley was there and all these different big names. And I'll never remember when I was a little kid watching TV and Baron von Raschke comes on. They're doing an interview. And Von Raschke, you know, he was a pretty intimidating dude, man. And the interviewer asking a question, Von Raschke just says, the claw will get them all. I was like, dude, I am out. I turned the TV off. And that was the end of my day that day. But yeah, I got to watch that. And then, of course, you know, growing up, when I got to my friend's house and they'd have cable and you'd watch NWA and WWE, you know, and all that stuff. So it was a great time.
So you mentioned you had a football injury. Hey, you're playing some basketball, but then all of a sudden, because of your physicality, they say, hey, maybe this kid should play football.
Yeah.
And then you really started attacking the weights as well. You blow the knee out, it's time to move on. And all of a sudden you think, hey, maybe I'll give pro wrestling a try.
Right.
Talk about getting into the business.
Yeah, so Hogan was at his apex, right? You know, I'll never forget the first actual match, like the big time match that I went to, first WWE match was at the Checker Dome in St. Louis. And Hogan came out and the music played, roof blew off the place. I mean, I'd never seen anything like that, right? And I was just like, that's what I want to do. So I found a local group that was willing to to train me and my buddy Mark. And I mean, it was extremely rudimentary. In fact, my first lessons were in a ring that was set up in a hayloft of the promoter's barn. And basically they just taught you how to fall down a little bit. But that was where you started, at least where I did. And then I went down for a few months, and Jeff Jarrett was having some classes right outside Nashville. So I went down there and learned a little more, got hooked up with USWA. Eventually I went to the Malenko School of Wrestling.
But that was when you decided, hey man, if I'm going to do this,
yeah.
Look at this young buck here.
Yeah.
Handsome young man. But you decided,
mullet.
A little mullet.
Standard 1980s fare.
But when you say Boris Malenko, I'm thinking, because Dean was such a hell of a hand, man of 1,000 holes.
Yeah.
I'm thinking scientific stuff. Here you are in this, 6'8", 7 foot on television frame. What was the work like, or what did he really teach you about the business that you needed to know? Because you were already in, but your training wasn't up to snuff.
Exactly. I mean, they started all the way from zero.
Okay.
Right. You got into more of the psychology. But the interesting thing about pro wrestling is you really don't learn until you get in front of people. And that's when you start understanding the psychology and understanding how to get that reaction out of
It's
folks.
the best
That's
on-the-job
hard.
training that
It
there
is. It is. And nothing can replace
Yeah.
that. No sort of training can replace that.
So you're over here in the United States, and you drove I didn't know you were a car guy. You drove your Dodge Diplomat.
My Dodge Diplomat.
Blue, all the
Yeah.
way down there. Did
Yeah.
it make it in one piece?
It did. And I was, the whole way, I was like, just get to Tampa. Just get to Tampa. So I had to drive basically
You can
from St.
crap on
Louis.
me afterwards,
Yeah.
but just give me to Tampa.
Just
dang
get to
it.
Tampa. I had to get from St. Louis to Tampa. Was a 12-hour drive or whatever. Yeah, and drove all the way across there. And that thing actually stuck with me for about another 3 or 4 years.
God dang. I mean, when I showed up in the USWA, I was driving an 88 Hyundai Excel. And my payments were $154 a month. My brother co-signed on it. I couldn't let it get repossessed. Yeah. But when you make it $15 to $20 a night, I mean, it damn near got repossessed a couple times. Nonetheless, back to you. You ended up going down to Puerto Rico because I guess you'd crossed paths with Dutch Mantel somewhere along the line. And there's a real good story in the book about Heat as it goes with Dutch Mantel because he was the hottest hill in the territory.
Yeah.
Y'all had done some dastardly things to the top babyface. And in Puerto Rico, although I've never been, I've read a lot about it.
Yeah.
They take their wrestling real serious down there, especially between the good guys and bad guys. If they love you, that heel is in trouble, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I always heard that they had a wire cage or something over there, so they're throwing spark plugs, rocks, cups of piss,
batteries.
So tell the story.
Yeah, so Dutch has a big match, and what Dutch had done, he was brilliant at booking that territory. He knew the exact psychology. He would have a loose faction, a stable of heels that kind of worked together, but they weren't all part of the same thing. But Eddie was called La Familia, right? Dutch was champion, and he had just turned Hurricane Castillo Jr. babyface. Dutch had beat him up that morning on TV, so Hurricane's out of the picture, right? So Dutch is having a match with Ray Gonzalez, who was another one of the top babyfaces. The deal was, if Ray won the match, Dutch's manager was in a cage, and the cage would be let down, and Ray could have a match with the manager, right? Well, they end up, the manager slips Dutch steel knucks, he knocks Ray out, wins the match. They're getting heat on beating Ray up, getting heat on Ray.
Beating him,
brother. Roof blows out. I'm like, what is going on? Here comes Hurricane Castillo limping through the crowd, right? And the thing was, man, when in Puerto Rico, when you punch someone, man, woo, the whole place do that, and they're just woo, 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 and he's hitting.
And boy, when you're getting that kind of feedback, you're on fire.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So Dutch takes off, and as he comes back to the locker room, he gets stripped coming around the corner and hits the side of a bleacher and cuts his eye like all the way around. Well, by this time, the whole place has gone nuts. And I remember they had these security guards. They weighed about $150. I get Dutch in the locker room. I look out again. The security guard has got his jacket pulled up over his head like in a hockey fight, just getting pummeled. So I pull the security guard into our locker room to save him. Two of the other guys were out in the ring with Dutch's manager. They were stuck. I mean, you couldn't get out to them, right? And they were out there about 10 minutes, and then the SWAT team showed up. It was the real deal. Dutch is over there. I think he had to have, I forget, it's like 14 stitches in his eye. It was a hairy night.
But but those are the days. I mean, when you get that kind of heat, that's money drawn heat, and that's when you get people to pay money for tickets.
Oh yeah,
they want the good guys to whoop that ass.
Exactly.
You came back to Puerto Rico, brief stop over there. You have a long history with Jim Cornette. Cornette has always been good to me with advice and stuff like that. You were working there as a Unabomber.
Yes.
Now, That's not any association with the Unabomber.
No. Cornette just thought the name was cool. Yeah.
I was talking to him just the other day.
Yeah.
But, dude, I thought your work when you got to Smoky Mountain was really good.
I was very
you,
fortunate.
I've heard you speak of your work, and you said you didn't really kind of find your gears till after Fake Diesel, and we're going to get there. But Taker comes down there, and you guys have a match in '95. Dude, that was a damn strong match.
Yeah.
No one with a big height advantage here. He tries a right, and The Undertaker is ready for it. Here we go. Look here. Whoa! Able to drop The Undertaker. Feeling the wrath of The Undertaker. Here we go. Has him up. Trying to cinch up that tombstone. Pile driver connects. Wraps up the arms. 1, 2, and 3. And there you have it.
This is a really good match.
Taker, even back then, was always really good to me. You know, we got along really well.
Maybe that was a test, or he goes back, hey, I can make some money with this guy. But nonetheless, that physical matchup, there's not a whole lot of, opponents in WWE for a guy like Undertaker or a guy like yourself, so it was a match made in heaven. All of a sudden you get a phone call and you think, okay, and then they hit you with Isaac Yankem, and then you're from Decatur, Illinois, and even in the pay-per-view, they explain, Decay, get it?
Yeah.
The whole thing, it's almost like it's like the Ringmaster, man. I've had my bad gimmicks before as well. So, but when you got that news, were you just like, are you kidding me?
Yes. I'd flown up to New York to go to Stamford, and J.J. Dillon was still head of talent relations. I had this meeting with Vince, and Vince asked me if I was ever afraid to go to the dentist. Now, you hear all this stuff about Vince, like how he's going to get in your head and do all this stuff. So I'm sitting there, I was like, well, why is he asking me that? And I'm going through this kind of checklist of stuff, right, trying to figure out, and I'm like, no. And then he says, good, because I've always wanted to do this character, Isaac Yankem, a wrestling dentist. Get it? I yank him. They did the Vince laugh. Yeah. First time I ever heard it. And then, of course, you do the Vince laugh too, right? Because you're like, oh, this is going to be great. I had never been so happy in my life. And then I had never been so distraught either, right? Because I was like way up here, I'm just like, that's great. How am I going to do that, right? I remember just flying back home thinking, how in the world am I going to pull that off, right? And I talked to Cornette about it, and I was like, man, Jim, that's, and Jim was like, oh, they'll figure something out. You're not going to be doing that. A couple months later, he's like, have you talked to Bruce Pritchard or Vince or anything? And I was like, no, I haven't. And he's like, well, yeah, it's going to be the dentist. I was like, man. So anyway, we're doing the vignettes, and they show me the outfit, and the outfit says, like, my name is spelled out in teeth, and I hear the music, and I'm like, everybody else gets hard rock music, and I'm sitting here with the dental drill. And yeah.
You come and you debut, as Isaac Yankem, with Brett, and you're working a hell of a match with him as well. I thought your work was really good.
I didn't have any confidence. I just didn't.
Was it because of the gimmick?
It was because of the gimmick, and then also, I was watching Bret Hart on TV.
Right.
I'm watching Undertaker on TV, and I'm watching all these guys. And like, man, so you get out there. And I just wasn't prepared for that. That gimmick took a lot of wind out of my sails as far as I didn't know what to do. How do you do it? Yes. How do you do that?
How do you do that? 'Cause I remember watching.
Which now, that had been something when Vince, and I'd heard there's actually Bobby Heenan's idea, the wrestling dentist, but Vince was very invested. That was one of those things he thought was going to be a great character. And you also have to remember the time frame we're looking at. Everything was extremely PG, and it was kind of cartoonish at that point. So that's something that he'd wanted to do for a long time. Vince wanted it to be successful. It's just something I couldn't sink my teeth into it.
Well, I remember watching this because I wasn't in WWE then, but I remember watching like, man, this dude's big and he's bad and he's scary, but I just don't like the gimmick.
Yeah.
The gimmick wasn't good, but it was a foot in the door.
It was.
And that's what you've always said, just make the most of an opportunity. But before we get to the next opportunity, which wasn't a good one, before we get to the ultimate opportunity, I got to take you over to Kuwait.
Yeah.
Because I had Taker in here, and we were talking. I didn't realize this, but just kind of reading about you, you were on that trip to Kuwait where all the shenanigans were going on. Big Van Vader, who's no longer
Yeah.
with us, God rest his soul,
Yeah.
Leon White, really nice guy
Yeah.
and a great big man.
Yeah.
So he goes over and gets in trouble, and they detain him.
Can I ask you just this in Kuwait here? I mean, I'm sure you heard this before that they say this wrestling is not for real. Is it like you act or?
I find your remark and your question insulting.
It's not my question. It's somebody.
Does that feel fake, huh? Does that feel fake? Does it?
He was on a talk show with Taker. He gets whatever happens, and so that was a reason to say, hey man, we need somebody for Taker.
Yeah, because Leon was working with Taker, and they needed an opponent for the next pay-per-view for Mark, and it was supposed to have been Leon. That's what I've always heard, anyway, from like Bruce and Cornette, that was kind of the impetus behind the idea of Kane. But then when they presented it to Vince, and put me under a mask so that people wouldn't know who I was and all that, but when they presented it to Vince, he liked the story so much, he was like, why are you going to waste it on one match? And that's when you get into the backstory and all that stuff, yeah.
Okay, well, fake Diesel, let's just write that off because it was what it was, right?
Yeah, and but it was another step in the right direction. By the time I got to the fake Diesel character,
I mean, dude, you were committed. I mean, you're trying your ass off.
I was, yeah. And
it ain't for lack of effort.
No, but what the Isaac Gangman character did is it actually allowed me to show that I could work as the fake Diesel character, because I got over all the stuff of being intimidated and my confidence came back, and I tried to pull that off, and I think that at this point too, Vince realized, hey, the kid's got some talent, and he's willing to go out there and try, so it kept me in the game.
But that's interesting. That's one of the things that when Vince gets a chance to understand you or say, hey man, this guy, he's not a flake. He's always going to be on time. He's dependable. Right. He's willing to, dude, if you're willing to be Isaac Yank and willing to be Fake Diesel, I mean, pretty good kid.
That's right.
So, I mean, but that lets you know, I mean, your attitude has a whole lot to do, and I'm talking about the attitude there, I'm talking about a personal attitude.
Right.
And aptitude to do things, says to Vince, hey man, here's a guy I want to put some chips on and invest in.
Yep.
Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Because, hey man, you can come in there with the coolest look, this, that, whatever, but if you're a flake and you ain't dependable, you're gone.
Well, you've seen it. I've seen it. You get these guys, man, they got the rocket, they're strapped to it, they're going to the moon, and they start acting the wrong way, and that becomes very premature, and all that ends. And I've seen that time and again.
And there's always another one around the corner
There
to
is.
take your spot.
There's going to be 1,000 people that want your spot. So do the right thing. Be professional.
Right.
It's absolutely right.
Let's talk about Kane. How was that idea presented to you? This is one of the greatest gimmicks of all time.
It was actually, I think it was a phone call. It was either Cornette or Bruce. It's one of those things, as soon as you hear something, that's money, right? Because we're going to put you with the Undertaker. Basically you're his brother, so you're going to be equals to the Undertaker. And how much better can it get than that? So that's how it was broken to me. And then over the next several months, of course, had all the different things and all the stuff that you do, and just that process.
So talk about the costume and the mask.
Yeah. So I went to Binghamton, New York, and they were having whatever TV taping that it was. And I thought it was going to be like an escapee from a mental institution, kind of the Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers look, right? I get that, right? I get the
superhero.
Yeah, the superhero. And I call Mark, and I'm like, dude, this is not at all what I envisioned. He's like, well, not me either, really. He's like, why don't you call Vince and see where his mind's at? So I talked to Vince, and I didn't have one of those relationships where I felt like I had to call Vince on the phone, right? So I felt it was really important. So I call him and I explain my position. And
that's hard when
it is.
You haven't been there yet.
Right.
And you're still even working on the relationship, and you're trying to repitch the idea that he's gifted on you, so you're second guessing him.
Yeah.
But it's your concerns because you got to be the guy.
Right. And he appreciated that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what he said. I was like, and I was like, I said, just let me, I was very respectful, of course, because I was just flabbergasted that they would give me this kind of opportunity. But then what Vince explained to me caused me to realize he's a genius, because he said, yeah, we could do that. And he's like, it'd be fine. He's like, we've done that type of stuff before. He's like, but what you have to understand about Kane is he's trying to make up for these inadequacies. So that's why he dresses like a superhero, because he's mentally all messed up. And that's what's the really messed up part then, you know, is that he's making a determined effort because of how he views himself, because he's a psychological monster, to look like a superhero. And when he said that, I was like, yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. And it completely flipped my perspective on what the character was. And I remember another time we were talking about it. It was actually with JR and I think Bruce, and we were looking at the costume in the final one with the mask and with the eye. And someone said something about evil or whatever, and Vince said, no, the operative word with Kane is cool. And yeah, so.
What was it? Was it Bruce or JR that came up with the idea for the eye?
It was JR.
Yeah.
It was Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I said it would be cool. And then I think Marilyn Manson had two, so we just did the one.
But here's a story, and that's just, that's an awesome picture, and that's a great mask. And I have this mask right here, and man, this is like leather. It's pretty pliable.
Yeah.
It's got these straps on. But the original mask, it's not a hockey mask. This is
it was leather.
form-fitted.
Yeah, it was form-fitted.
And so but this is back in the day. You can't find these things everywhere or anywhere. But you find some people, a couple
Yeah.
that makes them
Yeah.
in New York.
Yeah.
That were into.
Yeah, they're actually, they did S&M stuff. So yeah, they made bodices.
So
and that
how'd you
sort of
get in
thing.
contact with say, hey, I need a black and red mask?
It was Terry Anderson, did our wardrobes and stuff.
Yeah, she made all my vests.
Yeah, nicest people in the world,
Yeah.
right? You know, and then I go to their shop in New York, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong place. But yeah, as a process, I had to have the head mold and all that stuff, and they made the original ones, and Terry was able to kind of figure it out, and by this time we had the bust of my head, so she would make them from then on. The thing about that mask, though, is it. And that's my favorite one. People always ask, what's your favorite outfit? That's
I agree.
That's my
I agree.
favorite outfit.
I
yeah.
didn't like the one without a jaw. I mean,
Yeah.
with your exposed chin.
I could talk a lot better than that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it didn't have this.
No, that's the
Yeah.
one I like, man. It had all the mystique, and that was it, right? The problem with the mask is traveling all the time with it being made out of leather. You put it, you know how it is. You put it in your bag, and it's all wet and sweaty, and it would lose its shape pretty quickly and start, you know, like that when it would start. It was supposed to be red and black, and by the end of the mask life cycle, it was sort of all brown.
How long could you get out of a mask?
Man, 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
And then I would have more than one. I keep a good one for TV.
And here's the thing, man. Like Terry Anderson used to make all my stuff too. My Stone Cold vest, with
Yeah.
black trunks, and I only had just a couple of them. And so when you're out on the road in a full body suit,
Yeah.
man, and you're sweating your ass off, and like a lot of guys, you wash your stuff in the sink, hang it up to dry. But sometimes, as the road goes on, dude, those things are a living nightmare to
Yeah.
take care of.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had a full bodysuit, so I'm getting my sweat, I'm getting everybody else's sweat, and
And the mat.
and the mat,
And everything
the
goes
mat.
with it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and we're gonna get to working with the mask, but hell, half the problem there was with your long hair and the rivets in that thing. It was like a pain in the mask.
Yeah,
Right?
That's exactly right. Yeah, I would spend half an hour after the match showering. I would just pack conditioner in my hair and take a wide tooth comb, and just try to get all the tangles out. Because I would pull it through those rivets, which connected the straps to the mask itself, and they would shred my hair. So I'm dealing with split ends and everything. And my hair was really long; it was halfway down my back, and it was beautiful. But it was a huge pain to try to take care of.
But also talk to me about working, with a mask, because it just seems to me. I mean, are you making facials like you normally would, but they're just covered by a mask?
Yeah, I would over accentuate everything because I realized since people couldn't see my face that I had to really rely a lot more on body language. But it all starts with your face. So I was still doing facials under the mask, but I probably like with that. That was the head tilt. I learned that from my St. Bernard.
Love that.
Annie, yeah. She,
But tell the story
yeah.
about that, because man, I remember when you first started doing it, and just like your dog, you're emotional, and all of a sudden, I mean, with you doing the mask,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just
It was freaking. I remember
whole different level.
I remember Bruce telling me, he's like, you get more out of that head tilt than you would do in a 20-minute promo.
Right.
And the thing was, again, you had the mystique, and no one quite knows what's going on inside Kane's head, and then you do the head tilt, and everybody's like, what does that mean, whether it's good or bad? Generally it meant that someone's about to get chokeslammed, but nevertheless, one day I was working with my dog, and I noticed she would tilt her head this way or tilt her head this way. I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And I tried it, and sure enough, the audience reacted, and that's where the whole head tilt thing came from.
When you didn't have any confidence, and when you were Isaac Yankem or Fake Diesel, and you're trying to, with the work style, I mean, it's always great when it's character based. You know, when I turned into Stone Cold, I really had a base of what to work. And when I was studying Steve, I never really knew what that was or who that guy was. It was just a name Dutch Mantell made up. So I was trying to emulate Ric Flair because he's the GOAT. And so when I turned into Stone Cold, I said, okay, here's how I work. With respect to everything that you were doing, when you put on that mask and that outfit, did you feel entirely different as a human being?
Yes. Yeah. As corny as that sounds.
No, but I believe it.
It did, man. I mean, everything changed. And I had sort of a model because it was somewhat based off of what Taker did, right? But I also became my own. And yeah, I would put the mask on. And of course, I was always Glenn. But I mean, there was something that kind of changed, and you could do some things automatically. You didn't have to think about how do I move or how do I do this. Just kind of like your body and your mind already knew what to do.
When you made your debut, it was a Bad Blood, and it was going to be a Hell in a Cell match, and it was between Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, and you went out there after the match, or was it during the match? And
it was during the match.
During the match.
Yeah.
And Tombstone Undertaker.
Yeah.
Hell in a Cell is going to come back a little bit later.
Yeah.
It was a great debut. You almost didn't make a show.
Yeah, my buddy Mark, man, he shows up at the house. I'd flown into St. Louis a few days early, grew up close to there, and that's where Bad Blood is at. So my buddy Mark, I'm like, man, I didn't get a rental car because I'm just riding with whoever, right? So my buddy Mark's like, yeah, I'll take you down to the show. So he pulls up in the worst beater of a car I've ever seen. You know, I don't even know what it was. And anyway, so we're driving down the road, man, and I look down, and smoke is coming out of the cassette player. And I'm like, dude, your car is on fire. He's like, what? And then there's a big pop, and then smoke starts coming out everywhere. And we pull over. And this is before cell phones. This is before, it wasn't like now where you could just call someone, and I'm completely freaked out. So I'm like, man, this is my big break, and I'm sitting on the side of the road, in you know, whatever this car is, and it's smoking, you know. And luckily he was able to call a friend of his, and he came down and took us to the show. But yeah, I almost didn't make it to the show, and I was not happy.
So once you make your debut, and it was great. How'd you like that music?
It's the first time I'd ever heard it.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Everything about this is my favorite version of the character, man. The music, everything.
It's Paul Bear! And that's gotta be Kane! That's gotta be Kane!
Hey, what are you thinking here, man, as you're walking? Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at this. Dude, made you look like just an animal.
So did Earl. And then, of course, and Taker's reactions too, man.
Yeah. Hear that? That's that quiet, hey man, what is going on? That's that quiet, that's respect. It's like, what is this?
Yeah.
That ain't silence because it's boring, it's because no one knows what to do. They don't know what to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what happened?
Yeah, because you look back now, and of course you have this entire history of stuff. But imagine you're sitting there and you have no idea what in the world all this is, you know, and if you're at the arena, you don't even know that's Kane. You know, you might think so, but you don't hear Vince screaming, that's got to be Kane. So it's one of those deals like, what in the world just happened, right? And got to remember, too, at that point, Undertaker That didn't happen to him.
No.
I mean, that never happened to him. So that whole thing was just done as well as it possibly could have been done.
Talk about the communication between you and Undertaker, because obviously you guys, hit it off when y'all had that match in '95, and two big guys, very similar builds, and would go and do great business with each other. But just as far as when you assumed that character and became that character, what was the communication like as far as, hey, lay back on this, more of this, or,
He always wanted more aggression, no matter what,
But he had to come to Jesus meeting with you at one time because
that was when I was
before
Yankem.
Kane.
Yeah, I had a match with Taker when I was Isaac Yankem, and he basically said, "Dude, look, if you want to stay here, you're gonna have to start being a lot more aggressive."
Yeah.
He's like, it was an awful match. I remember that, and that was kind of like when I was at my lowest, and that really helped me out a lot. Because I was just like, gosh, this guy's invested enough to talk with me about this. They also realized, I think, that we could do business together if I were to get my act together. But anyway, yeah, so we had that talk, and that was probably a turning point for me, too. When I realized that that's what was expected out of me. I wasn't just there. I wasn't just supposed to be there because I was happy to be there.
It's great to be happy to be there, but you got to get over.
Exactly. Or you're not doing anyone any good.
No.
Who's Mark going to work with?
Explain the story about the...
Yeah, so my pyro cue is always I'd raise my arms up and throw them back down. And actually that came that day, and it was Taker's idea. We were trying to figure out a cue for the 4 ring posts to go. And Mark was like, well, the Undertaker, at the time, he would bring his hands up, and he would come out in a blackout, bring his hands up, the lights would go up. He's like, everything Kane does is the opposite of Undertaker. So... and you notice there, I didn't do it like, later in my career, I get into it, right there.
But you develop it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but that was the first time we'd ever did it. And we just thought about, that's just the beauty of our business too, is you get this trademark stuff, and a lot of times it's kind of something you just talk about in the afternoon. It's like, well, that sounds cool. Let's try it tonight. And that's exactly what that was.
Hey, how many times in working with all the pyro and all the fire that you guys did, you have the Inferno match, Inferno #2, you get caught on fire, but how many times for a shoot with it did you come close to being in harm's way? Because Taker, and I've invited him back to come talk about all that specifics. Had a great chat with him, but man, he's been through some pretty hairy things. What about yourself?
I was very fortunate. Really, the only time that I can remember was the first Inferno match. That's one of the things, too, is Vince and WWE, they always made sure we were safe. As safe as can be in a situation like that.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you about the Inferno match, though. That whole deal, we were supposed to rehearse it the night before and all this stuff, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. Paul Bearer and I show up at the arena. We're supposed to be taking over to Fayetteville and have a match. I was working with Big Van Vader, and then come back, and Mark and I are going to rehearse this. And it's the first time we'd ever done that thing.
Yeah.
They have a limo supposed to take Paul and I to Fayetteville, and this before GPS again, before cell phones. Limo driver drove 2 hours the wrong way. So then we have to call the office and say, hey, we're wherever the heck we are, and well, you guys got to get to Fayetteville because, we've been advertised. And so we ended up getting to Fayetteville, and I was supposed to be on first, and they're holding the show. So I get there. I literally get dressed in the limo, run out, meet Leon at the locker room. We fight out to the ring, fight in the ring for 30 seconds, roll back out, fight to the back. I jump back in the car, drive back to Greensboro, get there, and they cancel the rehearsal. So the next day is the first time that I go through all this stuff, and I'm working with Hollywood stunt people, and they're so you guys are gonna do this real time, right? Yeah, like it'd take us a couple weeks to set this up. That was a little disconcerting, but anyway, then we go outside the arena and we do a burn. And they put the stuff on my arm, and I'm standing there. I got fire on my arm, right? And then I go to move, like, don't move that way. You have to keep your arm behind you, because if not, you'll inhale the flames. Yeah. And here's the thing. So here you are, and you're having a wrestling match, but then you also got to think about all this other stuff, right? And then doing the stunt and all that's going through your head.
How hard was that working inside that, with the flame bars all around that ring? I remember the match vividly, and then crank up them flames every time, like a big impact move or something like that. But
It was visually spectacular, and I thought we had a really match. I actually thought that was one of our better matches. But to do a false finish, look like you're going to win, was to set the guy on fire.
Right.
We couldn't get very close because it was dadgum hot.
And also you worried about
And
your hair
we're
catching
all-
on
yeah,
fire.
and both of us are like covered in the flame retardant material and all that. But yeah, the only time that I ever really did anything myself was the very first one. And it was completely my fault. I was selling the one hand, and the other hand, it touched the apparatus, which was like a hot stove. But nevertheless, I mean, you got about 3 feet away from those flames, dude, and that was as close as you wanted to get. So it was hard to do I'm going to throw him into the fire, because you just couldn't get, anyone convinced, because you couldn't.
Sounds good, can't do it.
Exactly.
Another great match you had with Undertaker was WrestleMania 14. And I was, about to, win my first world championship against HBK, but I didn't know if he was going to go to the ring or not. But you guys go out there and knock it out of the park. In the book, you talk about, watching the Undertaker's entrance, because you're already in the ring.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, here he comes.
Man, I mean, it was real. This dude's coming, he's got those guys lined up, and that was when they had the Druids and they had torches, and he's walking through the torches. And I'll never forget, man, I'm watching that, and Paul puts his hand on my chest, and Paul's like, "You're gonna have a heart attack. Your heart's racing so fast." And I'm like, "This is awesome."
This is in front of 20,000 people.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, dude, it was like, it didn't matter if there were 20,000 people or no one.
Yeah.
Because that was just so. That was so much presence,
Yeah.
I guess, of Undertaker walking through there. I was actually probably the most intimidated person in the building. I was like, "Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this one, man." It was truly awesome.
You guys went out there, you knocked it out of the park. It was an outstanding match. But, like when I read about you, I was like, oh, man, here's Kane. In the storyline, his half-brother.
Yeah.
And he was so blown away by this entrance, that he was just overcome. We was out there on the damn road somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but this one they used to kind of smoke up, the entrance a little bit. That was the only effect we had, other than the 20 by 20 ring. And hell, I was working with the Undertaker. I just kind of started catching my groove a little bit, and they smoked up the arena, and there I was in the ring, and here he comes. Nothing near the promotion, the proportions of what you've got here. So I'm sitting there thinking, before I went to the ring, I'm thinking, this guy, we call everything in the ring. Yeah, we didn't finish, but everything's on the ring. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm working this, and the boy, all of a sudden they smoke it up, here he comes. And my mind went blank. I'm watching that big son of a gun come down the ring, I'm thinking, man, what was I going to do? And he comes to the ring and he does the lights. And I was like, we just started going, but I didn't know what I was doing because I was so blown away by his presence.
It really is. It's intimidating. And the thing is, I think everybody thought that was the end of Kane. But that finish was, I kicked out of 2 tombstone pile drivers. I think the only other person up until that point was Hogan that had ever kicked out of one. I kicked out of 2. He finally got me with the third one. I still sat up and 2-stunned him on a chair. That match made me as much as anything. Losing to Undertaker, but then leaving him laying again, made me as much as anything early in my career as Kane.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, you look
huge.
like a complete machine.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
yeah.
do the favors, but you get it back on the
Exactly,
backside and go on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, your relationship with The Undertaker, I mean, hell, if it hadn't been for The Undertaker, Kane would have never happened. Certain things lined up that I became what I became. And all of a sudden, man, going back, look at his Brothers of Destruction, the 2 sledges. Dude, if that doesn't scare you or impress you, something's wrong with you. What are your thoughts and feelings on Mark Calloway?
He was important to me before I ever got into WWE. I'm fairly certain one of the reasons that I got into WWE was because he put a good word in for me. He was another guy that Dutch knew pretty well. We talked a few times before I had my tryout or anything like that. And then the match, like you said, in Knoxville. And then he was always a big advocate of mine. You mentioned earlier when I was doing the Isaac Yankem thing and things weren't working out too well for me. And he was the guy that talked to me and told me, you have to, basically I was feeling sorry for myself. You know,
Right.
and-
Could be saddled with this
yeah,
gimmick.
Exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, why me and all that? And he's like, look, dude, it doesn't matter. Just go out there and show that you can do it. And if you do that, you're going to get a chance. And I took those words to heart. And throughout the whole Kane story, man, if Mark Calloway had been of the mind that, oh, I'm just going to get over with this character, it's going to be a one-off, that's all I want, that's all it would have been. He was the guy that pushed everything. I mean, if someone didn't want to do business, literally I'd say, well, you can talk to Taker about it. That was the end of the conversation because he always had my back.
Yeah.
And I knew that. I mean, we had conversations like, so-and-so wants to do this. He's like, well, it's up to you, but I wouldn't. I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to. But all that stuff. And then the Brothers of Destruction, the actual tag team, and everything, and then our personal lives. I remember one time, again, you know, you go through those periods, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And I talked to Mark, and he's like, as long as you're still having fun and you're still capable, you know, it's your decision again, but keep on doing it. And even in my campaign, he came to Knoxville and did an appearance in my campaign. He never does stuff like that. He's just been more than instrumental. There wouldn't be a Kane if there hadn't been an Undertaker. And certainly I wouldn't have had the success that I'd had if he hadn't always had my back. I remember one time I was having just some issues with booking and stuff, and I went and talked to Vince. I talked to Mark first. It didn't even involve him. And this was just my own thing. I just needed some guidance. And I go talk to Vince about it, and he's like, yeah, I talked with Mark earlier. He mentioned this to me. He's like, I think he worries more about you than he does himself.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's just how he was my entire career. And still to this day, I mean, if I need something, and I hope he feels the same way, I'll call him or whatever. So, yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I love it. Do you remember Austin, Texas? Pouring blood on me.
Absolutely.
You remember that?
Yep.
Oh, good. What? What the hell is that? Look at this! My God, what is that? Austin is covered. What is that? Oh my God!
I know you don't really like to have or talk about like favorite matches, but that's one of my favorite angles that I ever shot.
Yeah.
It was with you.
Yeah, me too.
And take me through that, what
Yep.
you remember. And because we're going to get into our first blood match,
Yep.
which followed a Hell in a Cell match.
Yes.
Please start.
Yeah. So we were, if I recall correctly, we were kind of going back and forth, and it was me and Mick sometimes, and you and Taker, and we were kind of all the four of us were doing stuff.
We did a lot more business than I remembered us doing. I look back, man. I mean, we did a lot of stuff.
It really was. But it's kind of always that mix of the four of us.
Yeah.
And then so that night was when we got it was setting up the World Championship, and I can't remember. There was something to do. Wasn't there some backstage stuff with Paul Bearer or something? And Taker was getting him, and Mick was involved. There was these great threads just tying the whole thing together. And at the end of the night, I come out, and then that's when I announced if I lost the match, I would set you on fire. And I forget what the cue was, but you were in the ring. You were wearing your white Austin 316 shirt. And I did my pyro cue, but instead of the pyro going off, it was like a scene out of Carrie where all the blood was red paint. Like you were talking about with Taker and Tombstone and Taker that first night, and people just sitting there. It was the same deal that night. Everybody's just sitting there like, what in the world just happened? It was cool.
Oh man, when they first broke that angle down to me, I mean, no one talked. Hey, next week we're going to do this.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I showed up Austin at the Frank Irwin Center and like, hey man, here's what we're going to do. I said, oh man, that sounds badass.
Yeah.
But just the visual of that, and I looked up and I'm like, what the f?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm if you read my lips, you can see what I'm saying. But there's that moment, there's that stare.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got the match and we're set up, and I'm looking forward to working with you. It's first blood match. Okay, we got our work cut out for us. We go on the road after Austin, Texas, and TV, and we end up in Houston. We're at the Summit. We're sold out. I'm working in the main event with Mick Foley. My mother and father drove 100 miles to come see me wrestle. I think I'd only been to like maybe 2 of my matches in my entire life. Have your parents ever go to some of your shows?
My mom had the best sign ever. She had a sign that says, I raised Kane. So,
Oh, man,
that was
awesome.
actually in
Yeah.
Houston too,
Yeah.
actually. I don't know if it was that night.
Oh, so, you know, when I told my mom and dad I wanted to get into the business, they didn't know what to think, you know. And so, but they always supported me. And so me and Mick, we finished the match, and I go back there, and I've showered. I got my towel around my neck, and I start, kind of shaking and shivering, and I just can't stop. And so I tell my mom, I said, I'm sorry. I said, I got to go. And they put me in an ambulance and took me to the hospital. Ended up spending 3.5 days in Herman Hospital with a staph infection in my right arm. At first, I didn't know what it was. Figured out it was staph infection, and there I was laying in bed. I was like, hey, man, I got to wrestle Kane in the first blood match. So finally, they discharged me from the hospital, but that was on the front end of that. And so I get to where we're having the match, and all of a sudden, we are the main event. It is Kane versus Stone Cold Steve Austin
title.
for the world title.
Yeah.
But God dang, there's a hell of a match right in front of us.
Yeah.
Hell in the Cell comes back. You debuted at the Hell in a Cell. Now you got to follow on, and it's your half brother Undertaker versus our good friend Mick Foley as Mankind. Talk to me about that. What do you remember of it?
Well, Mick, I'm still hot at Mick because I won the world championship that night, my first one ever, and no one remembers it because all I remember him going off the cage twice. And frankly, Steve, I don't remember. I think I knew the first one when he got thrown off the side. I'm pretty sure that I knew that was going to happen. But then when he went through the cage broke. I mean, he was supposed to get choke slammed on top of it, and it didn't. It broke, and he went down, and I'm just like, oh my God, Mick is dead. And then that's my first reaction because Mick and I are traveling partners. I mean, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him, and then he starts moving. I'm like, well, I guess he's okay. Golly, though, man, he's all messed up. He was part of our finish. The deal was, and I can't remember exactly what it was. You might fill the gaps in here, but basically, he was supposed to come out, do something with you, and then Taker's supposed to try to hit him with the chair and got you, and that's how. Okay, right. Well, Mick is supposed to come back out, and he's laying there in a crumpled heap. And I'm just like, and Vince looks at me. All right, Vince McMahon looks at me, and this is back
while the match is going on.
While this match is going on, and I'm putting together our match and trying to remember everything. He looks at me. If Mick can't come out, you're going to have to figure out what to do in your match. And I'm like, me? Why are you looking at me, man? Me? And this is, these are
the adjustments you make on a live pay-per-view.
Right. And this is also Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, this is not like, this is not like just going out in an enhancement match or something. I mean, this is like a huge deal. He's looking at me saying, we're going to have to, how are you going to change this? And I'm like, I don't know. And I was just like, I was the most relieved person, not only for Mick's safety, because he's a friend, but also professionally, I was the most relieved person on the planet when I saw him coming back down the aisle because we didn't know if he was going to do it or not.
But it was so hard, and here's the thing.
Yeah.
You always want everybody to knock it out of the park, but when you got to follow a match like that and two guys knock it out of the park, I mean, we worked our asses off. We had, a solid brawl of a match that you would expect from a first blood type match. I mean, what do you do? It's not going to be a whole lot of acrobatic stuff.
Right.
There I am going out there, staph infection in my damn arm, try to jump this thing off, hit the ropes, duck 2 clotheslines, Thesz,
yep.
off and running. So we got him. I cut the Undertaker's ear off with that same leg over in England. Boy, that's a load right there when you take that clothesline. Here it comes. Dude,
We didn't know if he could.
When I see him come down there, and you can watch that back on the WWE Network, he's coming down there with that chair in his hand, Spirit of 76 style, beat to shreds, got his 2 stuck up in his nose during the match. And I'm thinking, hey, he's coming through.
Yeah.
Toughest guy in the history of the business. Man, I'm just thinking, God dang it, Mick. A dispatch of him. Cheap shot. Sorry about that. See you later. Boom. Okay, oh, dang it. Chair goes out. And then here comes Taker with his chair, and he's limping down. I mean, he's been through everything as well. See him limping?
Yep, Taker had actually, in Austin, he'd actually broken his ankle. I don't know if you remember that.
I didn't.
Yeah. I don't know if he's ever
No.
told you that. Yeah. In Austin, they were.
Because he was gimped up coming down that
Yeah,
ramp. I didn't know why he's limping.
They were doing a pre-tape backstage where he was chasing Paul Bearer, and something happened, like Taker kicked the TV or something. When he did, his foot went back too far, and same deal. You know, you're talking about Houston. I worked with him in Houston. He was working on a broken ankle, man.
Oh.
And same deal at King. He's another one of those. He's one of the toughest guys
Yeah.
ever lived, right? But anyway, yeah. So here he comes, and
So we go through the beats, and then as Mick's getting up, he's coming to hit him. It's a timing feed. It's not a blind feed. It's a timing feed. I'm rolling in off the floor, got the chair, bringing it up because I'm going to strike him. As I pick it up there, here he comes down, and there's the double percussion. I go down. See ya. Get you out of the picture.
I remember a guy in the front row going, "Austin's bleeding. Austin's bleeding."
This is great. Try to wake up ref. Wham! Thank you very much. Gets rid of him. And then, Earl calls the match, and I'm sitting there thinking, hey, man, what is going on here? Why they calling this match? You didn't cause me to bleed.
Yeah.
Undertaker did. But as we go off, people are like,
Again, they're trying to digest all that.
okay, I want to go into the next night, Cleveland. But as you look at that picture right there, man, you got the gold belt. I'm not a mark for belts, but I mean, being the world champion is being the world champion.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're invested or if you're in this business, and if you don't think that that's something, I got news for you. What were you thinking here?
I mean, like you said, it's the top, right? And I remember getting back to the hotel room, and I gave I had a twin room. I gave the other bed had the belt had its it was in the bed. It was all laid out very reverently. So yeah, man, it was just like, and of course Paul made sure that we got pictures that night, while I was world champion. So it was a big deal.
We go to Cleveland Raw the next night, and you go out there, and there's a big presentation, and you're about to get the world title, and then I make a walk to the ring, and my biggest complaint is that I eloquated and articulated that, hey man, Undertaker is the one that made me bleed, not you. So if you want to accept the belt like that, then when you can, but you didn't really do anything to win it. I said, I challenge you to a damn match. And here's the thing, as ominous, as powerful as the mystique or whatever was, Kane and all the power that you represented, to me it was like, when I told you that and you reasoned it, and of course Paul didn't want to have nothing to do with it. Vince is not going to make the match because he didn't want me to have the belt.
Yeah.
But to me there was, and I don't know if it was intended or not, but when I laid out the cards to you in the way that I did, it's like there was some type of honor to your character to accept that match.
Yeah.
And I don't know if anybody ever read anything into that, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, I did. For me, it was, Kane wanted to prove that, this thing, you're right. And here I am trying to prove I'm better than The Undertaker, but the only reason I have the title is because Undertaker did my work for me. So I had to prove that I could actually beat you one-on-one.
There we are. People always ask me, do the stairs hurt? Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
When you hit them like that, they hurt too.
Ah, you get hit with the shoe.
Love chasing the heel manager, never get to him. Here we go again, a day clothesline off the top. Oh no. Dude, I'm the heaviest 250-pound guy in the history of the business.
There's Purse.
Dude, spent a couple days in the hospital. I don't really ever blow up. I didn't have a whole lot of energy. And reading your book, you said, and losing the title to me, that was one of the favorite moments of your career.
Yeah, it was. I felt it was more important than winning the title, because I almost felt you were a rocket ship, dude. You were going straight to the moon. It almost felt like we kind of booked ourselves in a corner there. Everybody knew Austin was going to beat Kane and keep going. So you had this little hiccup, right? But it was very unexpected. And I think the people were more thinking of how is Kane going to set himself on fire without actually setting himself on fire than they were that Austin was actually going to lose the title. So that next night, I'll never forget this, Steve. That was the most electric crowd that I've ever been in. It was unbelievable. I mean, it was like a movie. When I think back across my career, that's one of those that stands out. And, I just have those images of, the smoke-filled arena and just packed to the rafters and people just going nuts the whole time. Because the only thing they wanted to see was they wanted to see Stone Cold Steve Austin get the title back. And it also felt like, I don't know, that really kind of helped shoot everything up even. I mean, everything was already going up great, but you winning the title back and doing it like we did, it really kind of helped propel everything even faster.
I love that night, and I love that angle.
It was awesome.
And I love both of the matches.
That was also kind of the kickoff to the Brothers of the Destruction.
That's what I wanted to get
Because
to.
we were, that's when you were the catalyst that brought Undertaker and me together. And that was, I think, probably the first time they really saw us in the ring together where we weren't adversaries.
And then here was the thing. When you teamed up, when you're working as heels, right?
Yes.
But the thing about it was the visual is so awesome and so cool. It's like, hey, man, these guys are kind of laying waste and doing whatever they want to anybody they want, but it's kind of hard to hate them. Did y'all feel the cool factor, or did you just feel the power factor of you had to watch that stuff back on TV and say, that's cool?
Well, one thing is we're moving so fast, I don't know, there's just so much going on. Yeah, I think it was one of the deals. It didn't matter if we were baby faces or heels. That was a very unique tag team. I mean, because you have kind of like the mega power teams come together before, for lack of a better term. But this was something else because you had these two mythological characters almost who had always been intertwined in a storyline. And I think that's what people always wanted. They didn't want to see me and Undertaker fight.
Right.
They wanted to see us together because of the story. It was always just about keeping that mystique going, and keeping the Brothers of Destruction and Kane and the Undertaker, not necessarily even, like wins and losses, whatever, but keeping the mystique where it needed to be and keeping it unique.
Did you like working tags? Did you feel like you're doing half the work, or there was more things to play with? Or, did you enjoy the scene? Because I enjoyed teaming with Triple H, but I'm a singles guy.
Yeah. I remember Boris Malenko, when I asked him which he liked more, he said it depended on who his partner was. And it's the same with me. And I've been very fortunate. I had some great tags. I actually like tag team matches better than I do single matches in some ways. I mean, like the World Championship, Frank, I don't like when we do triple threats and stuff like that. But yeah, it's one-on-one, just mano-a-mano or woman versus woman, right? But I love tag matches because you do have so many more variables you can play with. Man, you get the hot tag of the baby face, and there's nothing else like it. And it's a completely different dynamic than singles matches.
Well, I love tag team wrestling because, like you said, there's so many different things you do in the combinations. And all of a sudden, you got the referee and distracting the referee and working him with it. Because he's one of the boys. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like about tag team wrestling was once you get entrenched into something, if your partner goes down, you're left stranded.
Yep.
Because that's what happened, with me and Flying Brian, or when they decided to split us up. But all of a sudden, you're back in harm's way. Paul Bearer is a common thread between you and I, and I've seen him on screen a couple of times. I was down there in Dallas, Texas, greener in grass, and they stuck me with a then Percy Pringle. And, Percy's one of the funnest guys I ever knew, and one of the smartest guys I knew, and just knew the business in and out. And then so you spent so much time with him. And he used to do things behind the scenes for you.
Yeah.
Tell me about the shoot aspects of what he did as your manager.
He was literally my manager. It didn't have to be. He was probably more important to the company than I was at that point. We book our own travel with the exception of our flights, of course. But he would book all the travel. He would make sure that I got to where I needed to go. He didn't want me to have to worry about anything except matches. And he was great about all that stuff, man, except for the night in San Diego.
I love that story. Talking about a red Cadillac?
Yeah, so
tell me that story.
So Paul would always drive too. I mean, I didn't have to worry about anything. Well, one night, and I think I might have had a match with you. But in any case, so he tells me he's not feeling good. We'd rented a red Cadillac or something like that. Well, you remember I used to come to the arenas, and this is before social media and everything. So some people knew what I looked like, but a lot of people didn't, and they're always interested in Kane. Was he all scarred up and messed up? So I'd always wear like a towel over my head or a black ski mask when I'd get into the arena. So here I am, and I got Paul in the car, his big red Cadillac. There I am in my ski mask, driving up to the arena. And it's the sports arena there in San Diego.
Yeah.
Remember, you go down the ramp, and people are lined up all across. I mean, thousands of them. So I'm driving along, and all of a sudden, Paul Bearer, who just a few moments before was on his deathbed, rolls down the window and just starts yelling out the window, "It's a miracle! Kane can drive! Kane can drive!" And I'm just like, I've never been so embarrassed in my life, man.
Let's fast forward a little bit. Let's go to 2003 when you're getting a little bit frustrated with the mask.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a conversation in your book. Vince tells you, he goes, "Hey man, keep using your facials underneath that mask because you're not always going to wear it." And I pipe in, "Hey man, why are you going to take his mask off? He's doing pretty damn good." And you kind of agreed with me. 'Cause, I mean, you're on fire.
Yeah.
No pun intended. And so all of a sudden, you hit a brick wall with the mask.
Yeah.
And talk to me about that meeting with Vince, because that happened in Dallas, Texas, and you would take that thing off in the garden a little bit later.
Yeah. So
What were you feeling?
I just felt like I'd gone as far as I could with the mask, and that I needed to freshen up the character. And really, it turned into an entire reinvention. We'd already done another incarnation of Kane. I mean, we have the original, and then we'd always had the same mask. And then what had happened was I'd torn my bicep tendon, and I was out for 3 or 4 months. When I came back, that's when it came with the mask didn't have the mouth, and that was cool. And I was doing some really cool stuff, but just felt like everything had gotten stale, and I had really gone as far as I could with the mask. And also, I felt that the mask, because it covered my face, this is how, as performers, this is what people look at, right? I mean, you're doing a promo and it's your body language, but it's also your facials, and I didn't have any. So I talked to Vince about it, and he agreed. We were the only 2 people in the company that thought that. Everybody else is like, the character's successful. Why would you ever want to do that? It ain't broken. Don't try to fix it. But it's like one of those deals where if it doesn't work, we can always just figure out a way to put the mask back on, right? But it was frustration, but then, of course, I got really excited because I was like, wow, this is, how it is. It's not like everybody has something written out. And, I remember when I first got into business, people were like, yeah, they know WrestleMania 2 years from now. They're like, well, no, with a lot of stuff we got to do on the fly. And that's what this was. So I wasn't quite sure where it was going to go, but I was willing to take the risk because I knew that I could go, what I felt, what was a step higher, or at least a step in a new direction.
So when you took the mask off there in the garden, how was that? I mean, you did that, you were looking at the crowd, and all of a sudden there's a turn to the hard camera. You nervous here? Or
no.
as Kane, you're being Kane?
I was just being Kane. I was just trying to keep the motivation and the integrity of the characters. Like, what would Kane be thinking right now? And you do feel naked, though.
Yeah.
It's wild, yeah, because I'm like, this is really weird.
But in the book, you talk about, looking at you right there, man.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the look on your face. And you talk about in the book about, your face is how you tell stories. And without it, it's hard. You always emotion
Right.
with that mask. But now all of a sudden you see rage. And to
Right.
me, like when I look at the Kane character with that full mask on, I was like, he's scary, he's big, he's intimidating, he's powerful, but I don't know what he's going to do.
Right.
Now when I can see your eyes and I can see your face, I'm like, now I can see intent. I can see the malicious intent.
Yeah.
And so I just said, okay, dude, without the mask, scarier. The mask was cool as hell, but all of a sudden, when I can see what your gears are thinking or what you might want to do to someone or how you started talking, I'm like, that's very scary.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I felt the same way because it actually, how we talked about, originally Kane was cool, superhero.
Right.
And that was Kane, though. You know, the superhero was cool, but that was actually what it was hiding, right? And that's kind of the feeling. Now, I was a little nervous, though, because I hadn't told my wife about this. And my wife loved my long hair. And I wanted her to see it and be shocked just like everybody else was. And she was. And so when I talked to her after the match, that didn't really go very well.
But you tried to work the gimmick for a while, and
Yeah.
like when you went home with that half haircut, and y'all were going to go out to dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
But-
that had to
and
be kind of rough.
that's all thanks to Bruce Pritchard. I mean, we were just going to shave my head, right? And they get about halfway through, and Bruce's like, stop, I need to show Vince. I should have said right then, keep going. But Bruce's like, we don't have anyone that looks like that. And of course, Vince agreed with him. And of course, in the heat of the moment, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's going to be awesome. And then, yeah, I'm sitting there like, wait a second. I got to go to like Outback with this. I got to pick my kids up at school.
Hey, it's cool while you're doing it. When you get down back, it ain't so cool.
It's like, yeah, I have a life. I do have a life outside of this, and that, yeah. So I kept it about a day, and then I just went ahead and shaved. I told Vince, I was like, look, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I was like,
And
and
he
he was
understood,
cool
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I get it, you know. But I was like, yeah, I can't do this.
Glenn, I got a bone to pick with you. You set my good buddy Jim Ross on fire.
You need to feel my pain.
Oh, no, look out.
Kane, listen to me.
Somebody get in there.
Put the gas down. Put it down, Kane. Kane, put the gas down.
Kane, you have to think about this. Kane, no, what are you?
Put the matches down.
Come on, Kane.
No, don't do it.
Put them down, Kane.
Oh my God.
Somebody help me. Somebody get somebody in there.
How'd that feel? Dude, I mean, you got that rage. You weren't doing that with the mask, and all of a sudden with the vocals,
Yeah.
you don't have the voice box, but I mean,
Yeah, I finally got to let loose, man. You know, and that was the thing about that incarnation of that character. It was just unbridled emotion and rage. As much as Kane was cool and a monster and everything, you know, then you get to start delving into the mind, and it really was messed up. Kind of my motivation, my thought behind that character was there's a book by Thomas Harris who wrote the Hannibal Lecter stuff, right? And one of his villains was the Red Dragon. And the Red Dragon was this dude that he had the cleft palate when he was younger and had it surgically repaired, but also had a very abusive childhood. So looked like a normal dude. Had a mustache, you couldn't even tell he'd ever had a cleft palate. All his scars were on the inside. And that's what I felt, you know, when people were like, well, Kane doesn't have any scars from the fire. That was the thing, he never had any scars. But he wore a mask this whole time because he was convinced that he did. That was really was a lot of fun, because then you felt like you get the entire performance. It just wasn't, you know, the physicality in the ring, but you also get, you know, the promos and stuff.
man, to be silent for so long and then be short-winded when you did start talking, and I loved when you used that thing on the promo on me. I love that. But when you start talking without the mask, what was your approach to promos? I mean, were you just coming up with all this stuff?
No, we wrote it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to do a couple takes on that one. I was pretty good about internalizing and being able to come back out with it. JR was not happy about this.
Well,
Well, here's the thing, you sit down, there's a can of gasoline there, you know something. This WWE, you know something's going to happen.
and the thing about it is, I mean, he's looking down at his clipboard, checking the dialogue, and moving right along. You got a pretty good spell there where you just articulate and eloquating with a great angst and anger.
Well, luckily we had some cutaways along the way. But yeah, I've always wondered why you would agree to do a promo when a guy sits a gasoline can beside and you're like, oh, we're cool.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it wasn't like you was giving him a whole lot of choice.
That's true.
If he got up, you just go set him back down.
That's true.
Yeah. But that was great. You set the box on his lap, and inside the box is a can of gasoline.
Yeah, I got a
Where's
present
this
for
guy
you.
coming from, man? So you're constantly evolving the character, and that, I mean, the guy was just full of anger and very dangerous and very scary. But you would take it in a different direction, and I take you to this clip as your evolution of this character.
Okay, Kane, thank you for coming. Would you maybe feel more comfortable removing your mask? Okay. Is there anything you'd like to tell the group about yourself?
Well, I grew up locked in a basement, suffering severe psychological and emotional scarring when my brother set my parents on fire. From there, I shifted around among a series of mental institutions until I was grown, at which point I buried my brother alive. Twice. Since then, I've set a couple of people on fire and abducted various coworkers. Oh, and I once electrocuted a man's testicles. Years ago, I had a girlfriend named Katie, but let's just say that didn't turn out so well. My real father is a guy named Paul Bearer, who I recently trapped in a meat locker. I've been married, divorced, broke up my ex-wife's wedding, and tombstoned the priest. And for reasons never quite explained, I have an unhealthy obsession with torturing Pete Rose.
Okay.
See, what I love about that clip was, to you, in storyline, it's a total shoot.
That's normal.
But as it times out in that skit, people are like, what are you revving me? How was that received in your household? I mean, because, I would always go home and, hey, what'd you think?
Oh, yeah. That was immediately, everybody thought it was just classic. You know, I mean, and it was. It was such a departure. The Team Hell No stuff and the anger management skits were such a departure from my character for so long. And you know how it is as a performer. At some point, you know, when you do the same, you're good at it, but you do the same thing night after night after night. I mean, it becomes, I never understood burnout. Like you'd hear about these musicians that would get burnt out and leave their band and have to do something else and go again. I never understood that. I'm like, gosh, you know, and then it kind of started happening to me. Like, you know, I was doing the same character for however 15 years or whatever it was. Kind of, even though there were different versions, it was always that dark, sinister, very sadistic in many cases character. You know, and at some point you're just like, you know, just mentally, it's like, you know, this is getting boring. And I kind of went through that. And that was so refreshing because it was just a completely, I mean, it was 180 degrees from anything else that I had ever done. And I hope, too, that people could see that and say, wow, this guy, you know, he can do more than just go out there and beat people up and be this stoic, mean person. You know, he's funny and has a sense of humor and timing and all that sort of stuff. But the thing is exactly as you said, the reason it was so funny is because you had this, anyone else does that, it's whatever, you know, it's okay. But Kane doing that, you know, it's just completely over the top because you never expected, and because, you know, had all this history. So in the end, that really played into making that thing successful.
But also you have to give yourself for great comedic timing and pulling it off like you did.
Well, I got to be the straight guy too, because Daniel Bryan was generally the funny guy, and then of course Dr. Shelby.
Hey, going back to your comedic stuff, I got one more segment for you I'd like to play. Hit this one up. Backstage, setting up a 6-man tag.
Rock, ask you something. You ready to go out there and whoop some ass? Ready to go out there and whoop candy ass?
Oh, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Well, you bet your ass I'm ready. It doesn't matter if you're ready. Because tonight, The Rock and Kane team up with Hulk Hogan. And you know something, brothers? Whether it's the millions and millions of Rock fans, or 20,000 Hulkamaniacs, or 20,000 screaming Canaanites. The question is, brothers, what you gonna do? Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-Pac, what you gonna do when Hulk Hogan and The Rock and the Big Red Machine run wild on you?
I'll see you guys now.
Here you are backstage, you know, basically being a stand-up comedian. How'd you feel about that? I mean, did it mess with your head, or were you just enjoying the hell out of it?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. In fact, that's one of those things that people still talk to me about. I mean, you see it on Twitter and all the stuff. So, and again, I mean, that just caught everybody by surprise, right? But I think every person my age has done the Hulk Hogan thing, right?
Yeah.
Everybody does, right?
Everybody. I
Everybody's
did.
done that.
Yeah.
You know, so that was nothing new. No, it was great though. You know, it was just awesome. And also, I mean, you're you know, we take this stuff for granted.
Yeah.
That's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Hulk Hogan, and you get to be the star. How often does that happen? So that's pretty awesome.
Well, what's cool about it, because I've been out there when he did the it didn't matter thing to me because he got everybody with it, right?
Yeah.
So when finally someone was to flip it around and get him, I was like, oh yeah, I love it. Because it's like the best interrupt line ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
doesn't
You
matter.
get completely blown off. So he, awesome job. How did this relationship with you and Pete Rose come to be? Because those were some great moments as
Yeah.
well.
Man, that was one of those things. I think it was the day of WrestleMania 14 that I found out that Pete Rose was going to be the special ring announcer. Of course, Percy was like, "Well, that's going to be haha, right?" And Percy always kind of, often being the old hand, he would sometimes, you know, go old school. It's like, you know, dude, this is Pete Rose, right? And then it's the greatest bit ever because Pete Rose goes out there, and I didn't know, I don't know if anyone knew what he was going to say, you know, but he's in Boston.
You know, I left tickets for Bill Butner, but he couldn't bend over to pick them up.
How about it?
How about it?
Wow, you talk about a heel.
And now, introducing...
It was just that day that came up. Now, mind you, this is before the big match with Undertaker, too. So,
I didn't even think about that.
yeah. So I'm super nervous. Throws the mic.
See how gentle that grab was?
Good God! No! That's Pete Rose! That's Pete Rose! Pete Rose just got tombstone!
And you worked a match after this.
Yeah.
So you're the heel, you get
Come
the
out,
babyface
get
pop.
the babyface pop, and then here comes Undertaker.
Yeah.
With the whole big entrance. Yep. You know, it's just the greatest. I mean, if the dude hadn't been, you know, should be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, he would have been a great heel. They also, I think, had Jennifer Flowers, I think, was at that one too. She got interviewed by The Rock. And then, of course, Tyson was your all's. He was
Special referee.
Special referee, right? So that was pretty star-studded, but I didn't know anything about it till that day.
But
And then we went on and did
kept
other
doing it
things.
again.
That was, I believe, Philadelphia the next year. He tried to attack me as the San Diego Chicken. And there was WrestleMania 2000 Anaheim. Again, he actually gave me the baseball bat that he tried to hit me with. So
what did he sign on that?
Hit King for 42.56.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. It's really cool. We even did a commercial for a pay-per-view. And I got to say this about Pete Rose, man. He's a consummate professional. I mean, he's down for anything. And, you know, he'd get in there and he just wanted to have a good time, put on a good show.
God dang, man, I'm so proud of you, the career you've had. I know you continue to have. How much longer do you think you'll keep doing this?
I don't know, man. I'm still having fun. I won the 24/7 championship in Knoxville.
And new 24/7 champion. I still got it.
I lost right back to R-Truth. But that was very entertaining. Got to have my dream match, which was me and Taker against DX. And frankly, if that opportunity were to ever present itself again, that would be amazing. So, I mean, I'm still having fun popping in every once in a while. And there's nothing like the WWE universe.
How you feeling after all the bumps, all the travel, all the BS?
I actually feel good. I was very fortunate. I'd hurt my knee, of course, playing football before my wrestling career ever started. So that bothers me, but is what it is. Other than that, you know, I'm good. I never had any really bad injuries.
Man, I want to thank you very much for flying all the way out here to the mean streets of Los Angeles, California, to sit down here at the Broken Skull Sessions with me and discuss your career. Careers like yours do not happen very often. A 25-year run in the making, future Hall of Famer, all of the accolades, all the bumps, bruises, and everything that you put into the business. Much respect. Thank you for coming out. I appreciate you, Glenn.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Good luck to you and everybody in Knox County, Tennessee.
Thank you, my friend.
Hey, my name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've been talking with Kane, Glenn Jacobs, the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Wish him all the best. Thank you for tuning in to the Broken Skull Sessions, and that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.